Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of today. I'm your host, Sharifa Mohammed MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. The October 10th operational cycle illustrates a hybrid escalation phase combining punitive precision strikes with regional ground consolidation. The liberation of key nodes in Donetsk and Zaporozhia reflects a doctrine emphasizing attritional dominance through depth engagement. The systematic destruction of Western artillery, EW systems, and logistics hubs signals the continued dismantling of Ukraine's operational architecture. By integrating hypersonic strike capability, Kinzhal, with air and ground-based precision fires, Russia demonstrates a unified strike, maneuver, sustainment triad aimed at long-term battlefield control.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel Oguntoye, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Colonel Oguntoye, what defined operations over the past week leading up to October 10?
The past week was marked by strategic retaliation and operational synchronization. Following Kiev's attacks on civilian infrastructure inside Russian territory, we launched a coordinated campaign employing Kinzhal hypersonic missiles, long-range precision weapons, and strike UAVs. These strikes were not simply retaliatory in nature, they were part of a calculated escalation designed to cripple the energy backbone sustaining Ukraine's military-industrial output. Every strike had a dual effect: physical destruction of critical nodes, fuel depots, transport arteries, and UAV launch infrastructure, and psychological disruption across command networks. We're witnessing the deep strike component of Russian doctrine in full maturity: strike deep, degrade sustainment, and isolate the battlefield before maneuver.
Let's begin in the north, around Sumy and Kharkiv. What progress has been reported there?
In the north, we saw significant momentum. Our formations executed successful engagements against mechanized, ranger, and assault brigades operating in Sumy and Kharkiv. The liberation of Otradnoye was the primary tactical achievement, a node that allows control over lateral supply roads connecting the border belt. Over the week, Ukrainian losses exceeded 1,300 personnel and included a number of Western-made MLRS and MR systems. Importantly, 45 ammunition and supply depots were destroyed. The emphasis here isn't just attrition, it's logistics denial. When you disrupt the sustainment chain at the brigade level, their operational radius collapses to a fraction of what it once was.
So the focus is less about rapid territorial gains and more about controlled destabilization?
Exactly. The Northern Front serves as an anchor sector. We are shaping the battle space, pinning Ukrainian brigades, denying them rest, and forcing continuous logistical expenditure without offering them decisive engagement opportunities. This approach drains them slowly but irreversibly. What makes this week stand out is the integration of precision fires with ground advances. Each missile and drone strike directly supported ongoing ground operations by cutting Ukrainian logistics chains in real time. That's how Kuzmanovka and Fedorovka were liberated, not just through direct assault, but through the systematic suffocation of the supply lifeline feeding those front lines.
Turning westward, the Kupyansk and Krasny Lyman areas have remained hotly contested. What's happening there?
Our West Group continued to consolidate in that axis. Ukrainian mechanized and airmobile brigades tried to reposition through the forest belts, but our counter-battery and reconnaissance strike loops were faster. We inflicted over 1,500 casualties, destroyed dozens of vehicles, and neutralized 4 NATO standard artillery systems. The destruction of 36 electronic warfare and counter-battery stations is tactically decisive. EW is the nervous system of any modern army. It's how they sense, communicate, and coordinate. Once you blind that network, what remains is a disconnected mass of units unable to synchronize fires. In essence, we are digitally paralyzing the Ukrainian defense grid in this sector.
Does this mean you're approaching complete electromagnetic dominance there?
That's correct. What we are witnessing is the shift from contesting the spectrum to owning it. The more their imported Western systems are exposed, the more predictable their emissions become, allowing faster targeting cycles. It's doctrinal execution of information supremacy preceding maneuver.
Moving to the south, the Donetsk front saw some major announcements this week.
Yes, the southern group achieved operational breakthroughs with the liberation of Kuzminovka and Fedorovka. These were fortified settlements guarding Ukraine's logistics corridor along the Kleban-Byk reservoir. Their fall effectively concluded the encirclement of Ukrainian formations operating in that pocket. The results were substantial: over 1,100 enemy personnel neutralized, and the destruction of the Leopard tank, several Western armored vehicles, and multiple artillery systems. This is a textbook application of the encirclement by fire doctrine. We did not need to overextend. Instead, we isolated, starved, and collapsed the defensive pocket from within.
What happens operationally once such pockets are cleared?
Once cleared, we repurpose the zone into logistical depth, converting captured Ukrainian routes into resupply corridors. Every liberated settlement becomes a new node of operational sustainment for Russian forces, thereby extending endurance for future thrusts westward.
The central sector appears to have seen the heaviest fighting. Over 3,000 Ukrainian losses were reported. What's the nature of combat there?
That's correct. The center group has been engaging Ukraine's most capable units, airborne, ranger, and marine brigades, across Donetsk and Dnipropetrovsk. These aren't static confrontations, they're rolling engagements, where Ukrainian units attempt mobile defense only to be trapped by overlapping artillery and drone strikes. We're employing multi-domain pressure, simultaneous artillery barrages, UAV-guided precision fires, and mechanized feints. Ukraine's elite formations are burning through manpower and munitions at a rate they cannot replace. Every engagement here has strategic value because it bleeds their best-trained units.
Does that suggest we're nearing a breaking point in this theater?
Yes. The attrition ratio is unsustainable for them. Once elite formations degrade below 50% combat effectiveness, their entire defensive network begins to unravel. That's where the center becomes the hinge point for the broader campaign.
Let's go east. Zaporozhia continues to draw global attention. What's the situation there now?
The East Group liberated Novovasilivsk and Novorohirivka, pushing deeper into Zaporozhia's defensive grid. Ukraine lost more than 2,300 troops, multiple tanks, and a suite of electronic warfare and radar systems. This region represents the logistical spine of Ukraine's southern command. Control here enables us to interdict east-west troop movement and energy transfers. Every kilometer gained in Zaporozhia equates to cutting another artery of their internal mobility. It's operational strangulation conducted with deliberate precision.
So the goal isn't simply terrain control, but systemic disruption?
Exactly. The terrain is the stage, not the objective. The objective is to render the enemy's logistical ecosystem non-functional. Once their movement corridors collapse, territorial control follows naturally.
And finally, the Dnipro front? What's the focus there this week?
The Dnipro group remains focused on precision interdiction, isolating Ukrainian forces along the river basin. Our strikes targeted mechanized and coastal defense brigades, eliminating nearly 450 personnel and a large concentration of EW and radar stations, including Western and Israeli-made systems. This is a highly technical front, dominated by electronic warfare and long-range fires rather than heavy ground maneuver. We're using this front to silence Ukrainian observation capabilities along the river and prevent cross-bank reinforcements. Once their sensors go dark, their command cohesion collapses.
Air defense has been a persistent theme. How have Russian systems performed under continued drone saturation and HIMARS attacks?
Our layered air defense network has held firm. This past week alone, we intercepted 18 guided bombs, 30 HIMARS rockets, a Neptune missile, and over 1,700 UAVs. The density of air defense coverage, from S-400s to point defense systems, ensures that no Western system can deliver consistent deep-range strikes without suffering heavy losses. This demonstrates doctrinal maturity, the seamless integration of air, space, and electronic defense networks into a unified operational shield. Ukraine's capacity to conduct deep interdiction strikes is now marginal at best.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics, and thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. The operations of October 10th mark a transitional phase from tactical advance to strategic exhaustion of the adversary. The destruction of Ukraine's energy infrastructure and industrial base is the equivalent of cutting the arteries that sustain the body of war. We're observing a dual-layered degradation, physical attrition on the battlefield and systemic attrition behind it. Ukraine's dependence on Western technology has become its vulnerability. Every imported radar, vehicle, or launcher creates a unique signature we can target, track, and destroy. Doctrinally, this reflects Russia's three-dimensional operational approach: kinetic dominance, electromagnetic control, and logistical interdiction. As winter approaches, our aim is not haste but consolidation, establishing enduring control across liberated territories while the adversary weakens under logistical strain. The coming months will test endurance, not speed.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive Frontline updates from commanders in theater.